Hi, I'm Michele Weiner-Davis. I'm the author of 8 books, including the brand new Healing from Infidelity. If you're a spouse who's been unfaithful and you're feeling rather devastated because your spouse now knows what's happened and it feels like your marriage is falling apart and you don't want your marriage to end, you want to keep it together, you want to keep your family together, I have 3 tips for you today. The first is, so often someone who's been unfaithful really is eager to put the past in the past, doesn't want to talk about what happens, just wants to move forward, can't understand why their spouse wants to talk about this painful experience. How in the world are you going to heal if you keep picking at the scab? I get that's the way you feel. However, if your spouse has a need to know, a need to connect the dots, a need for more information about what happened and how it happened and why it happened, you, regardless of how you feel about it, have to answer those questions. And you have to answer them openly and honestly. And when I say openly and honestly, I know there's a tendency to not want to hurt your spouse or to not want to have them be angry or even angrier at you. And so you want to spare them of some of the details. Here's what I have to tell you about that. If your spouse is coming to you for information and you only share partial information and the rest leaks out weeks or months later, every single betrayed spouse that I've ever worked with has told me, I feel re-traumatized. I was starting to build up trust again, and now I'm finding out that I didn't hear the whole story. And what I can say about that is sometimes that creates damages in the relationship that are actually almost irreparable. So A, tell the truth, and B, tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth. Don't allow the information to leak out over time. The second point I want to make is that you need to be willing to have your life be an open book. And by that I mean you need to be willing to share passwords to email accounts, to Facebook accounts. You need to be willing to show credit card bills or phone bills. You need to be willing to come forth with the information that your spouse is yearning to have. Now, I know when I say this, you're probably thinking, I don't want to live my life like that. I don't want to feel like my spouse is my parent. I don't want to feel like I'm in jail. I totally understand that. I would feel the same way. But I have to tell you that you are in a transitional period right now. This is a crisis time in your life. And sometimes when you're in a crisis, you have to do things that you wouldn't have to do under normal circumstances. So for the time being, allow your life to be an open book. So many betrayed spouses have told me that what was even more important than the information they gleaned from the passwords or from the credit card bills or the telephone bills was the willingness on the part of the unfaithful spouse to share. So do it. And lastly, your spouse needs to know that you are sorry, that you're remorseful, that you're contrite, that you are making an effort to understand the pain that your spouse has been feeling as a result of your choice. Saying I'm sorry once isn't enough. You need to say I'm sorry many times over a long period of time. Sometimes I've worked with unfaithful spouses who have a hard time saying I'm sorry, not because they're bad people and not even because they're not sorry, but because of a deep sense of shame that they feel about the havoc their choices have created in their marriage. And what I want to tell you briefly about that is right now, although I understand that you're going inward and really thinking about your own shame, you can't afford to do that. You really need to be present for your spouse, allow yourself to be vulnerable, to really share the hurt that you feel for having caused hurt in your relationship. And if you have difficulty not going to a dark place inside yourself, you need to get some help for that. You need to be able to say and show that you're sorry. Now look, this is not a simple process, and I'm just giving you some tips to sort of jumpstart you. If you want more information about how to get your marriage back on track, how to feel yourself, how to get more connected again, how to rebuild trust in your relationship, please visit my website, healingfrominfidelity.com, and I will share more information for you so that you can feel more hopeful that your marriage will survive. It can and it will. Just get the tools that you need to make it happen. Thanks.